All right. Well, welcome to the fourth week of Yoga for Beginners. And as we're going through the practice today, this might be one of the most challenging yoga practice that you have done. And I'm saying that because it's going to ask you to really tap into your own self, which sometimes is a really hard thing to do. But I promise you, it'll be like chocolate by the end of it. So let's just move on. And what we're going to be talking about today is mindfulness, breath, and meditation. We'll talk a little bit about the types of breathing, and we're going to practice some of those. The physiology, the body with the brain connection, and then our practice. So we're going to do a short bit of warm up with a yoga practice, just a really small couple of sun salutations to warm the body up. And then we're going to get right into an incredible sensation of something called yoga nidra. So, I mean, you know, why think about breath and mindfulness and body? Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, we talk about pranayama being life force, and that's literally the translation of pranayama. It is actually one of the 8 limbs of yoga. The second limb, which is the most important. There's a book called Living Like a Monk, I believe it's called. And this very successful entrepreneur enters an ashram. He decides that he wants to explore why it would seem that monks are, you know, content and happy. And he had gone to all these, you know, incredible speakers and everything. And he goes into an ashram, starts his journey, and runs into a 10-year-old. And he says to the 10-year-old, says to him, "What do you learn at school? What are the things that you like? What do you start learning with?" And he answered the boy, "Well, we learn about writing and arithmetic and you know, English and our language." And he goes, "Oh," and then the man asked the boy, "What do you learn as a monk? What's the first thing that you learn?" And the little boy said, "We learn how to breathe, because that's the first and only thing we actually have." So that was a really striking moment when I thought about that, because it truly is an unconscious thing that we do, but it's exactly the first thing that we have. Sure, we know that it increases our core strength, it increases our calmness and relaxation. It does a lot of things for our body in terms of cortisol, lowering that, which brings less stress, anxiety, lower blood pressure. It actually helps us with insomnia and sleeplessness. That's why that baby's looking so comfortable there. And it actually helps with things like bowel syndrome, because the gut and the brain and the breath are so interconnected. A couple of questions people ask me a lot is like, should you breathe with your nose or with your mouth? And in yoga, kind of a general rule of thumb is to breathe with the nose as much as possible. It's the one that filters the air for us, because it's got little hairs within the nose that does that. And as a rule of thumb, you generally breathe as you move, and you exhale as you bend forward or draw yourself downwards, and you inhale as you open the chest and expand the body. So if you think about up, inhaling like and exhaling down, that's usually typically how those breaths work. That doesn't mean it happens all the time. I don't want you to get frustrated with that, because some people do, and it doesn't serve you well to get frustrated with that. There are a lot of different types of breathing. Yes, it's in and out, it's in and out. Ujjayi breathing is something you might have heard of. And this is that breathing sound that inhales through the back of your throat. If you think of that sound when you're trying to fog up glasses to clean them, that kind of sound, that is Ujjayi breathing. And it's a constriction of the throat. And the throat doesn't feel tight necessarily. You can try it yourself. Just put your hands gently on your throat and just inhale. And then don't try to exhale with your nose, but exhale with a constricted throat. So you're just slowly exhaling through the nose. Again, a lot of yogis are actually moving away from this, because constricting the breath is something that we don't want to do necessarily. Holding your breath actually holds the energy within you, and you want to keep that going. Nadi Shodhana pranayama is alternate nostril breathing. So this is when you take one nostril and you breathe in through it and out through the other one. So it's hand mudra like this, inhaling through one, pause, switching the nose, and then exhaling through the other, pause, switching. And this is kind of this motion of centering through the middle body, through the spine. One of the breathing I think to be probably one of the best breathing, in my opinion, is the diaphragmatic breathing. And that's the picture on the right. It actually works with the diaphragm to contract and expand. When you contract the diaphragm, you tend to lift through the chest, the ribs open up, and the breath in comes opening. And when you squeeze your abdominals and you draw them in, the breath now comes out. We're going to do a little bit about diaphragmatic breathing. And when you do this for a long period of time, you're actually exercising the diaphragm, which is a really good thing because it helps in breathing. And particularly as we age, exercising any muscle in any way, shape, or form is a good thing. Counted or box breathing, this is something where you'll hear, we're going to do a little bit about this in our practice today. It is exactly what it sounds like, counting. The box breathing is, if you think about a box, 4 sides of a box, we inhale and pause. We exhale, 2, pause. We inhale again, pause. And then we exhale again and pause. Every one of these practices are really about bringing your mind to your breath. That's it. That's the bottom line. I'll mention lion's breath, which we do this sometimes in practices. And it's basically a big, sounds like what it sounds like, a big exhalation, almost a big sigh, but one that comes from the head and mouth. So it's like this. And the tongue actually comes out. No one's watching, so you get to do it all on your own. That is a really great way to just release tension in the body. It's remarkable. We do this a lot with hand motions as well. But as I was saying, all of these types of breathing really just talk to and think about the notion of bringing awareness to yourself, to your body, to the inner state. And that leads us into our next point about meditation. Does anyone here, and you can just raise your hand, has anyone meditated? Or I know, Mo, you have, we share an app, given it a try, yes or no? Yeah. Well, you're in for a treat. So we're gonna explore why even bother meditating. This is a busy slide. I debated whether or not to take it to you or not. You don't need to look at that for now. What we need to know is that we have 60 to 70 thoughts throughout the day. Can you imagine 60 to 70 thoughts throughout the day? And they move in an unconscious state often. And the moment we notice any one of those thoughts, even if it's a thought like, oh my gosh, I'm not meditating anymore, noticing that thought becomes meditation. And what it does when you notice that is it settles you down into the present moment. And when we do that, we tend to remove ourselves or disconnect from the body. So when we're able to actually connect with our thoughts, it requires your attention. What thoughts do you want to focus on? Because the thoughts you focus on are the ones that will continue to fire. And they say, there's a saying that says, the thoughts that fire together wire together. And it's true. It's the more you think about something all the time, you're continually going to drive those neural pathways to think of that. And when we do that, where you place your energy puts that energy towards those thoughts. So the point of meditation is really to come out of those grained in kind of thoughts and move yourselves away from a present that you don't know, a future that you don't know, or a past that brings with it its own familiar feelings. So meditation is a form to get beyond your body, your environment, your materials, and create more of what you want to think about. what it is that you want to have happening in your lives. There's something called an analytical mind. That analytical mind is the one that's constantly weighing, good and bad, evil, good, decisions. And what happens is when we're in that analytical mind all the time, we can't get into the body. We can't get into good things. We become overly analytical, and that takes us over in our bodies. That's when this happens. When you don't even notice the tension in your body, it's typically because your mind is in that analytical state. Children are like babies, don't have an analytical mind. They have nothing to develop them in that subconscious. So by the time we're about 6 to 9 years old, the analytical mind is already formed. So we are already saying, good girls do this, boys do this. This is kind of that motion or that kind of learning that we do. And what ends up happening is by the time we're at the age of about 35, 95% of who we are is in that subconscious, 95%. And it's constantly happening. And unfortunately, this is where we live a lot. And this is where habits and behaviors just keep coming without us even noticing. And that 5% of the conscious mind is the one that we're able to tap into through meditation. The meditative process puts us in a state of suggestibility because it walks you through your body and allows you to step out of the external and focus more on the internal, where you move from a thinking consciousness mind to a subconscious mind. And all of this to say, just like anything else, it is a skill, it is a tool, and it requires practice. So the more you do, the more you become part of a pattern that you want to create and live in a mind where you're conscious, because you get to make decisions that are good for you. You get to be in creation and into extraordinary places. And that's why I think we give up easily when we first start meditating, because we feel like it's going to happen right away. In fact, it doesn't. It's something that takes practice over a long time. I will say I have been meditating pretty regularly on a daily basis now for the last, I'd say, couple of years. And quite honestly, it's probably been the biggest game changer to maintaining my positivity, dealing with eating issues, dealing with stress. Because when you're out of those motions, of those daily activities, and you bring yourself into those, you're able to create a desired future in your mind and in your body. And so we're going to tap into it with something called yoga nidra today. And that's what I was saying. You're going to be on your backs for most of it. And you're going to actually come into a state where you're in almost a trance state between subconscious and unconscious. Some people do fall asleep in yoga nidra. That's okay, especially if it's your first time. If you find your mind wandering during that, just come back to your voice, or sorry, my voice and your breath. And I'll keep reminding you to do that. Yeah, so you're in for a treat. This is a beautiful way of, I think, kind of introducing you from a beginner's perspective to something as powerful as meditation. We've certainly found it in our body as we did strength, as we did flexibility and agility. But this is really kind of pulling it all together with the notion of breath and mindfulness. So that's that. And if you haven't looked at that video of Joe Dispenza, I highly recommend it. This is a slide from his video. I couldn't have gotten where I got without taking a look at that 20-minute of where, like, how it all works. It's quite fascinating. And if you're a science kind of person, you'll really appreciate it. Mo's given the thumbs up. She's seen it as well. We share a passion with it. Highly, highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. Thanks, Mo. Maureen. Okay, so let us take a comfortable seat. I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to stop sharing this. And I'm going to come to my mat with you. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat. I'm going to spotlight me. And go ahead and get as comfortable as you possibly can. So find a way to, remember we talked about sitting up on a block. It makes it a lot more easier to settle your sitting bones to the ground. We're going to practice some breathing to start. And to do so, I want you just to find yourself way, way up. So sit up into a comfortable seat. You're just going to take your hands in a meditative mudra. You're just going to take your palms, put them on top of each other, and drop them on your lap. And then sit up nice and tall. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes in a way that allows you to kind of turn out the external stuff and think about opening or turning on your internal lantern. Enjoy the relaxation of the legs, the spine, your shoulders, and in particular, your jaw and your face. With this arrival on your mat, I'd like you to kind of imagine this outline of your body and feel the air through your nose come in and come out. Come in and come out. Just notice it through your nose. And then just put your hand on your belly and then another hand on your chest. Just in, and find yourself breathing in slowly through your nose so that your stomach moves out and your hand on your stomach moves out and the hand on your chest remains still. Just notice that in breath on your belly. Then we're going to add the out breath with more notice. So as you breathe in, feel your belly move out with your hand. The top of your chest remains still as possible. Tighten your abdominals and then let them fall inward as you exhale through. Inhale, the belly and the hand on the belly moves out. Squeeze the abdominals and then pull the belly in and exhale through the nose. Inhale, pull the belly out. Squeeze the abdominals and then pull the belly in to exhale. Inhale, let the belly float out with the hand. Squeeze the abdominals and then pull the abdominals in and breathe out. One more time, breathe in, pull the breath through the hand on the belly, squeeze the abdominals, and then breathe out by squeezing the abdominals in and out. I'm going to do that one more time. Breathe in, belly hand goes out, squeeze the abdominals, and then squeeze them in and breathe out. And now release your hands and come into normal breathing, just a regular cadence in and out. Giving an idea here, and you might even feel a little stimulation in the abdominals. This is how it really balances it out. Right? And then just let your head float up, open your eyes, draw your arms up, and at the same time, inhale. And then exhale, draw them to the side, drop the head, bring your fingertips to this earth, and then push into the fingers to lift through the spine, and then look up again, spread the front of your body, and then look down again and drop all the way through. Bring your hands to your knees, and I want you just around your back, seated cat and cow. Here you go in the cat that's seated. And then exhale, bring your belly and top body all the way up. And then draw yourself back again. And then bring the belly forward. And then back again. And then forward. This delicate balance of your head on your spine, creating that space in there. The next time you come into normal seated, just stay there. All right, and then you're going to just roll onto your knees, and I'd like you to come onto your hands and knees. So give yourself room now to come onto your hands and knees, and practice just balancing your shoulders on your hands and knees here. So the hands are directly under the shoulders. Recall that we like stacked joints. Fingertips are super wide, so we can spread the weight of the body through the knuckles and the pads of your fingers. And then draw your toes under. Bring your hips to your heels, just a small lope forward, and then forward again. Do this a couple of times, again, warming up the joints, the wrists, remembering through the body that we kind of look at the way the joints glide and ensure that they glide in a way that's good and right. The next time you come into tabletop, stop there, okay? And then push into the left hand, bring the right foot forward into a low lunge. Inhale, draw the knee past the toe. Squeeze the bum here so that the hip doesn't go down too far, and then walk up the leg. Come into a nice starting stretch for the thigh, for the hip. And let's take both arms, inhale them up, exhale them, draw them to either side of the body. Inhale them up, and then bring the knee over the ankle. Take the left arm, draw it down, right arm stays up. We come into a twisted low lunge. There's an explanation here as you rise up through the chest and you draw your shoulders apart. And then bring the hand back to frame the foot. Curl the back toe under, lift the knee off the ground, and then step forward into a forward fold. Go ahead and bend the knees. Remember, as we bend the knees, we're coming closer to the earth, bringing in the energy from the earth. Let the head and shoulders relax. Let the crown of your head relax, and stay here for another breath. Exhale. Good. Now you're going to take the right knee down and back. We're going to unwrap what we just did on the other side and bring the left hand up for a twisted low lunge here. As the arm reaches up, we expand through the shoulder blades. We draw our attention upwards. You feel the belly kind of opening here. Inhale, exhale. Good. And then you're going to bring the hand to frame the foot. Bring the knee past the toe, squeeze the back glute so you don't want to go too deeply because we haven't moved much. You're going to bring the hands back into a low lunge, extended now. Inhale, lift the arms up, and then open up into goddess here. Okay, just a deep inhalation, lift, and exhale, hands back to goddess. Good. Stack the knee on the ankle. Bring the hands back down. Curl the back toe under. Lift the knee off the ground. And then step forward again into your forward fold. Go ahead and inhale. Float the body halfway up. Go ahead and draw yourself back down again. Okay, we're going to go through that sequence a little differently, but in a very similar way. Bend your knees a lot. Take the right hand, reach it up into a twist, push into the right foot more, take the left leg back. Here you go in a high lunge with the twist. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, bring the hand back down. Bend the back knee, step forward into forward fold. Keep your fingertips on the ground. Notice my knees are bent. I want to give my back a chance to just get long. And then take the left arm, reach it up into a twist with a forward fold. Push into the left foot more, and then step back with the right. There you go. It's a lunge with a twist. Deep breath in here. Exhale. And bring the hand back to the earth. Bend the back leg and step forward, forward, forward. We're going to do that again. Option here to use your blocks, your handy blocks. They will help you. Left hand on the block, right hand reaches up. Take the breath here. Exhale, push deeply into the right foot and step the left foot back. Now I have the block. It's helping me. It moved the earth higher up, so I don't have to strain quite as much. Okay, the props are there for your inhale. Put the hand back down. Bend the back knee, step forward, forward, fold. Move the position of the block to the right Right hand on the block now. Bend the knees, lift the left arm. Push into that right foot and step back with the left. Here's your lunge again. One full breath here. Exhale, bring the hands back to frame the foot. Nicely done. Bend the back knee and step forward, fold, fold. Bend both knees, push into the feet, bring your hands to your thighs and pause here. So I'm just kind of in this little mini squat. My knees are bent, my hips are back. I'm feeling the connection of my glutes here. Strength happening through the legs. We know how this works, right? Wrapping the muscles around the bones, around the joints. Now push into the feet, root to rise and come into tall mountain. Bring your hands to heart center. Here in that mudra of the heart. Now keep the hands in the heart center. I'd like you to take the arms up again and then make little fists with the hands. Okay? And then bring the elbows beside the body. And as you draw the elbows back, I want you to feel the power of the chest coming forward. Okay? We're going to practice a little bit of lion's breath here. Inhale the arms up. Exhale them down, side to start. Inhale up, exhale. Now a little faster. Inhale, go for lion's breath here. Inhale. One more time. Nice, hands to the hips, pause here. Now you might feel that little rush of energy here. That's purposeful. The breath of the lion is making the heart move faster. All we did was use our upper body and increased our heart rate using our breath. It was a controlled breath. Keep your hands on your hips, draw the knees back, come back into that little semi-squat. Bring the hands to the earth, pause here, let the head, shoulders, everything relax down. Go ahead and come up halfway, stay here for a breath, and then exhale, fold forward again. Take that right leg, draw it back into a lunge, and then toe heel the left foot out to the side. Keep pushing that back heel away from the crown of the head. So I'm drawing my head and spine and back of my leg as strong as I can. So really activating the hamstring here. Beautiful. One more breath. Exhale, bend the back leg and step forward again, forward fold. Just bringing the body into some warmth, taking the other leg back. Okay, look forward here, pull the knee up towards the ceiling, the back of the knee, head as far away from the heel as possible. Stay here for a breath. Exhale. Now from here, you're going to drop the back knee. I'm going to plant my hands to the ground. I'm going to slide back into tabletop, curl the toes under, send the hips to the heels, and I'm going to lift the knees off the ground to welcome my downward facing dog. So a nice way to transition into down dog. Now, if that's not feeling good for you, please feel free to come onto the elbows and just stay here. Regardless of where you are, into the shoulders. I want you to emphasize the squeeze into the shoulders. So wherever you are, work with the upper body the way it feels good and right for you. One more breath here. And now just tippy-toe your feet. If you're on your knees, just come up onto your feet and tippy-toe your feet all the way up to the top of your mat. Push into the feet, bend the knees, root to rise, take the inhalation. And bring the hands back to heart center. Feel the settling of the body now. One more breath. Exhale. Nicely done. Inhale and lift. Exhale, fold forward, bend the knees. Fingertips to the earth. Now float the body halfway up. And now sink back, semi-squat. Inhale the arms to the chest or to the sky. Okay, wherever you are, we're turning on the core, turning on the quads, bringing stability to the body. Exhale, fold forward, fingertips to the earth. Take the left foot back and pause. Have a look up. Beautiful. Now take the left foot, put it on the ground, and then walk your hands to the center of your mat. So we come into a wide angle forward fold. Bring your hands to your ankle and let the head float down. Nice little stretch for the outside of the legs, the inner thighs, and of course the hamstrings. Stay here for a breath. Can you really let go of your shoulders here? Can you detach your teeth from them so that there's space? One more breath here. Exhale. Good. Bring your fingertips together. Walk your hands to the other side of the mat. We're just changing directions. We come back to that lunge. Bend the back leg and step forward, forward, fold. Now bend the knees, root to rise, come all the way up. Bring your arms up to the sky and bring your hands to heart center. Keep your hands to heart center, sink the hips back. We're going to squeeze in a twist here. As the knees are forward, hips are back, just take your left elbow and draw it over to your right. Now notice, I'm not hooking my knee. Typically, we try to do that. What happens is we come out of alignment with the hips. I'm not hooking my knee. I'm just keeping the twist alive. Look down, make sure your knees are side by side. That's core. And come back to center. And then just twist in the other direction. Again, amplifying the middle of the body. Come back to center and pause. As you push down, root to rise, come up. We're going to tuck in some balance before we hit the floor. Hands to either side. Okay, Tadasana, remember, more than standing. You had a chance to look at my little video, you would have seen or heard, we stack the hips. We feel your ankles, knees, and hips all together. Pause here. Draw attention to the right side of your body. Push into the right foot. Lift the left heel. Hands come to heart center. Can you find your breath? Pranayama is the first element of balance. In a quiet, and find your breath. All we're going to do for balance is pick up that knee. Okay, imagine that foot pushing down on an imaginary brake. It is powered through the bottom of your foot, both sides. Drop the toe down, lift through the crown, changing sides, push into the left, pick up the right heel. Find your breath, lift the other knee. Flexing both feet, feeling as though you're pushing down on both feet. Tap the toe down. Start to sink the hips back, back, back. Come into intense pose just for a moment. And then exhale, fold forward. Take the right knee down and back. And then the left. Bring yourself into a few cats and cows here. And now, with the body warm, I'm going to ask you to come onto your backs for the practice of Yoga Nidra. So go ahead and get comfortable on your back. And as you prepare for the practice of Yoga Nidra, I'm going to come up. Okay? So I'm going to do this with you, but seated. I'm going to prompt you while I'm here. I'm going to ask you, okay, to get as comfortable as possible and make sure you've removed any type of noise or potential for disturbances. So if that means you have to put your pet away, then do so. This is really about getting into a really, really comfortable spot. The light blanket as a bit of a support on the chest as well. And if you have eye pillow, this is a great place to put it on. If you have a washcloth, put it on. It really helps to kind of get into this practice. Okay, and among the numerous functions of our brains, what it regulates is to hold in place this delicate balance between motivation and satiation. So we're always balancing. Remember, we talked about this analytical mind. This Yoga Nidra practice is about giving this overseeing of the balancing signals in the brain. So on your backs in a comfortable place, if you have a cushion under your head, that helps as well. Be sure you're as warm as the body wants it to be, and make a gentle commitment to remain still and aware, while at the same time allowing that natural inclination to deep rest. In this practice, we're not actively engaging with or against anything, just the natural inclination into that deep rest, allowing what is to be. I'll guide your attention through a sequence and to a subtler level of perception. Let the body settle completely and feel that growing sense of stillness. Take your attention to your nose and sense the soft passage of air through your nostrils. The breath is flowing naturally, and you're attentive to the feel of the flow of air. Cool air flowing in and warm air flowing out. Shift your attention to your mouth, noticing sensation inside the mouth. Feel whether there's moistness or dryness present. Bring your sensation to your eyelids and perceive this presence of light or darkness through your eyelids, sensing the ambient shade of light of your surrounding environment through your eyelids. Now, perceive the whole surface of your body, sensing your entire skin. Become aware of any and all sensations perceived on the surface of your body, the adjacent surfaces, temperature or tingling sensations. Just feel. Bring attention to your ears. Tune into an open capacity for listening. Listening to all the sounds around you, not focusing on any sound in particular, but allowing all to be present. The full spectrum is a dynamic field of sound vibration flowing through your awareness. Now feel that your inhale has like a natural internalizing quality, like a subtle vacuum. A vacuum that each time you breathe in, you feel as though your attention is being pulled in from the 5 sensory gateways. And it draws into the point of focus in the eyebrow center. The habit of chasing sensations and the constant tugging from the objects of the world that attempt to gain your attention are now released as attention comes to rest in the inner quiet space in the eyebrow center. In this space is the opportunity to generate a deliberate current of attention. Intentions are strengthened by the quiet and focused mind. Receive these words as though affirming them to yourself. I am empowered to make healthy choices from a place of calm and clarity. I am empowered to make healthy choices from a place of calm and clarity. Now, survey the body with a feeling of awareness, attentive to any sensation present. Begin by sensing the scalp, the skin on the forehead and temples, the eyebrows and eyes, cheekbones and cheeks. Sense the nostrils and again feel the flow of soft currents of air. Sense the mouth and jaw, the neck and throat. Survey the shoulders and upper arms, elbows and lower arms, wrists and hands. Survey the fingers and the tips of the fingers, the tips of the fingers and the fingers, the hands and wrists, the forearms and elbows, upper arms and shoulders. Release thinking and analyzing. Just feel your way. Sense into the region of the chest and spine, abdomen and groin, the hips and thighs, knees and lower legs, ankles and feet, toes and the tips of the toes. Sense the tips of the toes and the toes, the feet and ankles, lower legs and knees, thighs and hips, groins and abdomen, chest and spine. Survey the shoulders and upper arms, elbows and lower arms, wrists and hands. Survey the fingers and the tips of the fingers, the tips of the fingers and the fingers, the hands and wrists, the forearms and elbows, the upper arms and shoulders, throat and neck, mouth and jaw, nostrils and the flow of air, eyebrows and eyes, forehead and temple, the scalp. Now feel the entire body as one unified sensory experience. Within the single field of sensation, sense the slow, subtle pulse of breath, a wave rising and falling in the chest. With each breath, the chest expands and elevates, and with each outgoing breath, the subtle descent. Feel into the pulse of expansion and shrinking in the chest. As you follow this movement, begin counting your breath from 7 to 1, like this. 7, I am breathing in. 7, I am breathing out. 6, I am breathing in. 6, I am breathing out. In your own cadence, continue watching the gentle movement of the chest. From wherever you are, just release the counting and rest attention in the soft inner space within the chest. Sink into a space of calm and feel an innate sense of contentment flooding the chest. The space of silence and contentment beyond disturbance, arising from the stillness within. From this contentment as the ground of your experience, all experience appears as a pleading gesture against this backdrop of inner calm. Remaining held in this field of peace, let the next experiences appear momentarily like little stones dropped into a still pond, rippling, then settling, and becoming absorbed by stillness. Observe these passing experiences without engaging or resisting. Just let them sink from the surface of the mind into the stillness beneath. Unfocused, focused. Indulgent, reserved. Craving, satiated. Stillness, moving. Empty, full. Lacking, whole. Sense the tendency of push and pull between these polarities against the sense of quiet stillness beneath them that surrounds them, the one you created, a silence of atmosphere of contentment, larger than the fleeting rebels of passing experiences, an uninterrupted background of calm. Sink into this field of equanimity between opposing forces and easefulness, a deep calm, a space more potent than the forces of attraction and aversion, more potent than the pull between likes and dislikes, the very space in which they arise and dissolve. Neutrality, detachment, presence. All phenomena passing like ripples in a pond in an all-embracing calm. Avoid resistance, just the contentment of being as you are. The silence resonates. Listen to that silent sound. Go to the place where a sound emerges from silence and it returns to it. Listen. Merge with that silence and feel yourself as the reverberating silence. And from this silence, the intellect emerges like an inner compass, crystal clear, aligned with purpose, driven not by the push and pull between movement and inertia, but by destiny. Let these words resonate in the mind again as though you were speaking them. I am empowered to make healthy choices from a place of calm and clarity. I am empowered to make healthy choices from a place of calm and clarity. Let these words take hold in the body as a feeling, a knowing, and then breathe this knowing into each and every cell, like a rediscovery, a remembering. Feel that it's that very force that lifts you back into wakefulness. The force of purpose that initiates the flow of thought and action. The force that now generates awakening of small movements of the extremities of your physical body. Begin stretching and moving. And roll onto your side. Take your time with your knees bent. Pausing for a moment. Not pulled by any senses, but by remaining neutral. Go ahead and take your arms overhead and just have you roll up into a seated posture, but try to keep your eyes closed as you move through that journey. Feel anchored in the center as you slowly bring your hands to cover your eyes, and then open your eyes and let filtered light come through. And then just blink ever so slightly. Let the arms float away from you. Hands come to heart center. This completes our journey into Yoga Nidra. Namaste. Thank you so much.